Hey y'all, it's Lucy, Paper Glitter Glue. You can tell I really worked on my hair. I did take a shower before because I get nervous and a little sweaty. Okay, so I'm pulling up so I can see your chat. I see Delvine, Shirley. So happy to see Shirley. Linda. Oh, it's cloudy. Hot here. Looking at the names. Sonia, Vanessa. I thought I saw Deborah Bell. Trusty Assistant Ben Foxworth, Irene, Kay Smith, Corey, Michelle. So happy to see you guys. So what we're going to do today is finish this. So this is I'm calling it now the European Town Hall, even though to me it's the Marburg Clock House. But I thought I would make the name of the file a little more generic just to maybe appeal to more people. But it is the Marburg Clock House. But I'm calling, and then Ben, my brother fluent German. So he calls it the Rathaus, which I think is Town Hall. Is that correct? But again, I didn't think that was a name that people would understand what it meant. So that's why I didn't name it that. Okay, I think I cut out all the pattern, all the pieces, and I'm going to start over. We did a partial construction, and y'all told me you really wanted the little cupola. So this is the way I made it. The windows are very small because to fold next to a window is kind of hard, so I just made it small, but I think proportionately it looks pretty good on top of the house. I'll show you when we get to that point. Okay, let me see. Anybody? Oh, Marty is here. Hello, Marty. Let me see if I need to do anything else. I got paper towels for drying, wet paper towels for the inevitable glue, and I have another trusty assistant here today, which you will see in just a moment when I switch cameras. Alley Cat. She's the photobombing cat. She's kind of the most aggravating one. Okay, I'm rotating. Here we go. There, I'm getting better at it. Okay, let me show you the pieces for the main structure. The back piece, and I used watercolor paper. Wait, let me go over here and show you. I used this watercolor paper. 140 pound, and I don't think it's that you need watercolor paper, but it's a nice sturdy paintable paper, and it also has kind of a texture to it. I don't know if you could see that. So I got that. So that's what I'm doing this out of, even though mostly I like oh, Amy is here, and Nan. Hey, Nan. Barbara Rogers. Joanne Weaver. Oh, Joanne Weaver. That always throws me because my sister is Joanne Webb. So it's so nice to see you here. Okay, so the main structure, the front piece, and I kind of, based on, I kind of exaggerated the windows just because I really like the effect. So they're big window cutouts. And I did do what I call a stepped siding. And so that'll go on each side, but that's not really structural. These are the main structural piece, and we made them once before, but I'm gonna show you again. Okay, first I'm gonna do the front tower because it's kind of, you're like, what are all these little funky extensions? And the idea is to make it strong so that it fits into the building and stays sturdy. Okay, so if you want to make sense of it, this is the front. These two little flaps help us do the roof for it, and I didn't extend it all the way up. I don't know. Sometimes I make design decisions that, I'm like, I don't know why I did that. But anyway, these are the flaps that support the roof. A couple of windows. I did them kind of random because that's the way it looked like on the building. Okay, the main structure is this rectangle. This attaches to the front of the building, but I wanted an extension to go into the roof because it makes it so much sturdier. Do not fold here. I always almost fold here, but you're making basically like a little square here. Okay. Actually, first I'm going to put, because these are little, I'm going to put some windows on them. If I can find the windows. I only cut out 2 of the teeny weeny windows, which I'm like, I always cut out extra. I mean, I'll show you. I always have extra, but I only cut out 2 of this one, so I don't know what I was thinking. New bottle of Barely Art glue. That should make my life easier. I had to order some more because for our upcoming event. So adding a little glue to a little window and centering it around the opening. Same thing here. Shoot. Somebody told me, you know, people give me advice, and which I really appreciate. She's like, you put too much on. That's why they don't stick when you first put them down. I'm like, yeah. Over gluing. Should have seen me before I found this glue. It was real aggravation. Okay, now let's find the little other windows, the little double windows that go here. And this window, I don't know, it's not symmetrical, so you have to be sure you line it up with the shorter side on top. And I figure I did that because that's the way it is in the house, on the building rather. Yeah, new bottle of glue. I'm not used to it coming out so effectively. One time, I'll tell you a story while I'm doing this. One time I I put new brakes on my bicycle, and I wanted to get used to the new brakes. So I rode up this, what we call a mountain. My friend from Montana goes, that's not a mountain. It was 1,000 feet. So I rode up the mountain because I knew I would brake coming down and I would get used to it. Well, you know how that turned out. I braked. A car came kind of close to me, was coming up the mountain while I was going down, and they came kind of close. So I braked instinctively, like I had my old brakes on, and I crashed. But the funny thing was, when I crashed my bike, the lady who was in the car was taking a first aid class, and she was so happy to have a victim. So, anyway, I don't think that's the way you adapt to new brakes. By riding down a mountain. And I don't think you need to adapt to new glue bottle on video. But we'll do it. Okay, let's see if we can get this to stick. I wanted the door had some contrast, so I chose a darker color behind the frame. Yeah, there we go. Okay, again, I just wanted you to see how I put this one together in particular. This is kind of the hardest part. Okay, so this back piece comes over, and I'm going to use, actually I have another new bottle of glue. Quick dry tacky glue, so for more sticky, more structural sticky stuff, I use this. Okay, let's fold and hope it sticks down. Let's smear it so it'll adhere faster because it has to dry to stick. So maybe we'll be luckier with this. Okay. That looks better. That's doing better. Applying a little pressure. So this is the structure that adheres to the house, and above it is what inserts into the top piece. So it opened up while I looked away. Okay, Ben, can you help me? Can you get some binder clips? They're on the top shelf over there. And a little, like a cookie sheet. I don't want to be just gluing and gluing and gluing. You didn't come here to watch me glue. And I don't want tape to tear my little structure. Top row, cookie sheet on your left. Up, top row. Very, not the top. Yes, in that.
You said bring a cookie sheet.
No, I just want binder clips from the cookie sheet. I want, yeah. Okay, thank you. Binder clips. So if you're not like a major paper, like a tape fan, binder clips, and especially where they don't show, because they do make an indentation. All right, so that's, and we can go ahead and glue our this little flap together. This supports the roof, and I'm trying to line it up straight. I have painter's tape here. I remembered the painter's tape. I just did not remember I didn't think I would use binder's clip. Okay, so that's the tower, and that's really the hardest part. I think you know how to do this structure. So I'm just going to show you. I'm not actually going to glue it, because I like to have the windows glued on, and it's got, actually these go on the outside, and rather this extension, so, but it's a lot of windows and doors. The opening is for any light to go through if you put a light in your little house, and then that's why there's an opening on the back, these two, so there you can get some light to these windows as well. Oh, I do need another window. Okay, but this house design I call an inset house, meaning this is the front piece and the back piece just fits inside. So you glue it there, you glue this tab inside the front piece, and then you glue down these are the roof flaps to the roof tabs. And that's the structure I've got finished over here. So that's how you make the main body of the building. And that's where we are. Okay, wait. I do want to show you this. So this is the decorative clock part. And I wanted some trim to make it stand out. So let's go ahead and do that. Decorative trim. Trying to use little. I think part of the gluing issue is that, hey Tanya, I hope I said, it might be Tania, is that I'm gluing to a painted surface, which doesn't stick quite as well as if the paper was unpainted, or if it was, or cardstock. You can make this out of cardstock. I would do the body out of 110 cardstock if you have that. Oh yes, this is a cool yellow tray. I bought this at one of the hobby stores. Isn't it cool? I had to wash it because it had cat hair in it. Surprise. Okay, now I'm going to add the clock. And like I said, I really don't know if I have a 12-hour clock. I know I have a 13-hour clock on my website, but I'm not sure about a 12-hour clock. So this is from, let me show you, Cardboard Christmas Resources. So you can get this free on the Cardboard Christmas, and this is based on real the way little Putz House clocks looked. And they were all set at 3:37. Nobody knows why. And I'm going to glue it behind. That's going to be my clock. But you can find, I'm sure you can find a clock. There went my little wet paper towel. I'm sure you can find a clock online and just reduce the size. Let me see how big this opening is. I got my ruler here. Kind of amazing. It looks like it's about, it's almost 3/4 of an inch. So it really just needs to be under that. So if you want to, if you have a clock design you like. Okay, yes, smear it just a little, trying to solve the, okay, so wait, let me put it down correctly. Oh, yeah, almost. And then I just kind of ooched it around. I'm going to trim a little bit. But that's how I'm doing the clock for this. So, and that goes on top. And I actually designed it. You can sort of decide where you want it. Remember, one of the main features of the Marburg Clock House is it's got a chicken on top. So if you want, I didn't line that up right, but if you want the chicken to be on top of the roof, then slide this down a little bit so the chicken shows up. I'll show you when we get to that part. And then, but if you want the chicken here, let me show you my chickens. There's a little chicken. If you want the chicken here, it doesn't really matter where you put it. So that's my little chicken. And I actually like it on the roof. Trim this because I didn't glue it straight. Oh yeah, so design space, if you has a clock, who was telling me that? And the Creative Fabrica. I know a lot of people get Creative Fabrica, especially once Dreaming Tree went there. I'm even thinking about subscribing. I always worry. I try to be an original, and I try not to copy things, so I don't really look at stuff like that very much. Okay. And let's add a little glue behind here. Yes, I was really happy. And the other thing is, if you want, I did the chicken kind of in the proportion it is on the Marburg Clock House. But if you want it bigger, it would have a bigger impact. So just think about that. You can just, in other words, you can just enlarge it a little bit. Okay, a little bit crooked. There we go. So that's the front piece. Like I said, the that's the hardest structure. Okay. Also included in the file this, an insert so you can make sure it stays square. But I want you to notice that since there's a door here, there's a cutout for the door so that the insert doesn't show. So you have to line it up so that it fits the window and the door on the front. The other thing is, I meant to add another door. Let's see if we got a light colored door. Let's see if there's enough contrast. Because there are 2 doors on the front of this house. Okay. The chicken has only 1 drumstick. I don't really know what that means. Other people get it. Oh, because it only has 1 leg. Oh, okay. I get it. I barely get it. I mean, it took me a while. Sometimes I'm pretty sharp, and sometimes I'm very slow. Okay, so we've got that. And if you want something behind the windows, like you've got some acetate, or if you have vellum, do that before you assemble. Okay. So anyway, that's how it fits. I'm actually not going to bother gluing it, but that's how it fits. And again, I cut it out in the middle so you've got room for the light. All right, let's do the roof. I think that's, oh, yeah, let me see. Do we do the roof next? Yes. Let's do the roof, and then we're going to do side pieces. I'll try to clean up my chaotic station to make it a little easier to see. So we'll add those. All right, so the roof slides, and I painted a little bit, so in case a little of the edge shows, I painted it the same color. The pattern includes shingles, and I think the slate shingles on the clock house, on the town hall, were beautiful. But it takes some time, but the pattern does include some shingles. And the other thing it includes is a couple of little kind of like mini stencils you can cut out and stencil some stone, particularly here. Okay, let's do the back. I also reduced the size of this light in the back. It's only 1 inch. Somebody mentioned it, and I'm like, yeah, I think that is too big. So you can still stuff your, like if you have little mini LED lights, you can still fit them in a 1 inch, opening. Oh, Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie. She's in North Carolina. I'm in South Carolina. In other words, I know you're probably hot, unless you're way in the mountains. North Carolina has really pretty mountains. And has the highest mountain on the East Coast. Shocking. Yeah, Cindy was talking about the support to keep the house square. Y'all taught me that. I didn't. I just kind of wrestled with it, and when I glued them down, I struggled to keep them square, but y'all taught me that, so I appreciate you educating me. Okay, so see how it fits at the top? Push it over just a little bit. And just kind of holding it. See, I think the slate color looks very good. This color is called, Hickory Smoke. It's a Tim Holtz color. You know I love Tim Holtz stuff. And we need the same color here, and I don't think that's the right piece. Let me see. I kept tweaking it and tweaking it. And I thought I tweaked better than that. There. I do. Yes. Yes, that works. Okay, so now to glue this on, it's a little bit harder. Put a little bit at the top. At contact points, or where I hope they're contact points. Let's add, trying to do a subtle, the edges don't really show very much, or certainly not the inside edge, but this edge shows a little bit, so I'm kind of putting it on inside. I'm trying to get it on the edge, but any excess to go to the inside. That's pretty much how I do gables. Stand up. There we go. Okay, let's smear just a little bit. Okay, now I have to wipe my hands before I try to hold it down. Because that's one of my gluing problems, is my fingers get sticky. And then when I try to lay it down, it sticks to my fingers. Okay, so remember, whenever we glue a gable roof, the angled side goes to the angled side of the roof. Okay, there we go. And this is one reason I haven't glued this piece in, because I need to apply just a little pressure here. So one hand is inside and one hand is there. So let's see. Okay. Almost got it. I don't see a way to use binder clips. Here, I really think you just have to wait. But I like to show you this part because getting the gable down is important. Because especially this is where our chicken's going to sit. Okay, you know what's going to happen now, don't you? Painter's tape. All right, so what I'm going to do, when I don't want it to adhere too tightly, you just kind of stick it on something, and then very lightly adhere it to your surface. Let's see. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit. I'm going to make a chicken now. Clean up my little space once again. Okay. Pull out a bunch of little chickens for you. Now the chicken on top of this, of the Marburg house is, the Marburg building is metallic. So I wanted it to look a little metallic. So I used some metallic alcohol inks. You could use a paint. And these are just the colors I found. And I wanted it to look a little yellow, but it's actually a little more yellow than I expected. And alcohol ink is not designed, wait, let me see. One is Smolder and one is Alchemy. So it's bright yellow. Alcohol ink is not designed for paper, but paper absorbs it and it works. And these are pearls, so they have a shine to them. But paint, like a metallic paint would work too. But anyway, let me show you. Isn't that cute? See the hair adhered to it, the kitty hair. Okay, but let me show you how to make it. with the wings. Now you can skip the wings. The wing is a little bit of a pain. So when I cut it out, the back side looks best. So if you remember, which I did not, if you flip it, you'll get two good sides, but I forgot to do that. And then when I glue it together, I leave this little bottom part open so I can, that's where it's going to adhere to the rooftop. Okay, and again, if you really want it to look good, then, or rather, if you really want the chicken on your clock house to be prominent, then you could enlarge it some. And I'll show you, when I get done, I'll show you sort of the size. Okay, so, and it really helps if you line it up straight. And that's because the wing fits in this little indentation, and if it's not lined up, that indentation is smaller, and I'm separating the feet. So, okay, so there we go. Now here, let's find a little wing. Looks like this is the wing. I think this is like the tiniest thing I've ever worked with. So I fold it in half and kind of slide it in here. Slide the back half, I think easier. Watch. Slide it down and then kind of turn it. There. I just kind of turning it. And there are the wings. Right, let me try to angle it. So there are the wings in place. And I just put a dot of glue underneath. They're really anchored pretty well. Okay, so that is your chicken. Yeah, I wanted the chicken to show up, so that's why I got this metallic thing. So the chicken sits here. Let's add some glue. Little blobs of glue. And wait, that wing. Let's see. Need my pokey tool because I want the wings to be out. There we go. And there's our little chicken. So what you can do is like just use a little gray paint and touch up the bottom if you want. And also, if you want the chicken to be in this direction, you can, it shows up a little better. So you could do it in that direction too. So whatever you like. Oh, Delvine's telling me I should do miniatures. I'm like, oh, I don't know. That might stress me out. I was going to show you, I'll show you something in a minute. Some other little kind of fun things I've made. All right, what else do we need to do? Oh, the side pieces, and I'm actually not going to take time to glue them on. You know I like sturdy, so I glued 3 pieces together for each one, and this is the step siding that's on the building. Okay, let me show you the trim for that. Let's get this trim on. Yeah, that's funny. She's talking about miniatures because I'm going to make one, maybe 2 things for my Halloween event, that miniatures, and I'll show you in just a second. Okay. Just going to have to wait a second and let it get tacky. So I'm going to lay it down, glue up. And these are the windows for the step siding. So I wanted to do kind of a simple window, but that's kind of the way they look in real life. So before I glue them on, you know, obviously it's much easier to glue this stuff on before you adhere it. And then I'll just apply glue to the back, and that's the siding. And I think it just kind of finishes it off so nicely. And gives it a European feel for sure. We don't have many buildings with step siding in the US, so this is very European, or at least that's my opinion after my very first visit. See? Let's get one window on just again to show you better. Oh, Delvine really likes to make miniatures. I'll show you what I did. I did this a few years ago, but have never done a pattern. Or rather, never shared a pattern. I made it with a pattern, but stay, just stay. There you go. And then there's some other trim in there. These are, this is what are called quoins, these side bricks. And just for an extra detail, I was going to use them here to kind of cover up that seam. So you can use those as well. And on the original building, there are these dividers kind of showing, let me pull out my photo. So I've got some little, so you can use the trim like that. And then you can use this trim to separate the stories. And I just think it's more and more fun details. All right, I think I've got this one on. And the same thing on the side. So you can use this trim on the side to finish it off. One layer for the siding. Are you talking about, Amy asked if I was only using one layer. So for the building itself, it is just one layer. But this I did a couple layers because these corners, if you just have one layer, it's kind of fragile. Let me see, because I have another one. Here we go. Let me show you. This is just one layer of watercolor paper, and this is 3 layers. And so, like, if the building tips over or something, these will bend. But these with the 3 layers are not likely to bend and break the corners. So that's why I did that. Okay, and so I showed you this and all the extra trim pieces. Oh, I forgot something important. This is what y'all been waiting for. This is why the pattern wasn't done on time. The cupola, or however you say it. All right. So this is kind of tricky to fold, but I believe you are correct that it needed it. I think it looks really good. Mine, I had to trim a little bit because it overlapped with the gable, but I think on the most recent pattern, you know, I tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. I don't think that's a problem. Okay, I'm going to use this glue. I'm going to put it here. Wait a second. Let it get a little bit tacky. And then we'll just put it up here. I was going to show you. It's more gray. Cheryl is asking about the color. It's more gray. And I don't have a color paint that matches that, but what I would do is dilute a gray paint. But I really like that better. But I had some yellow paint that was really easy, so that's why I actually diluted it with water. I mean, with white paint, so it was not so yellow. But yes, it's more gray. And I like that better. I like that much better. Okay, let's put our little topper on. There. Yep, y'all were right. It needed it. And let me just show you real quick. If you're going to paint your stuff, fold along the score lines. And these score lines are tricky because they're narrow. So I use my ruler and fold, fold. And that way you can fold where it's supposed to and it won't break. In other words, it won't bend right in the middle of a window, rather. So I use that's how I use my ruler. And the same thing with the top, the steeple. And I painted this one before I folded along the score lines, and it obscures them. They're still there. You can barely see them. See, you can barely see it. But that's why I always try to fold before painting, especially when you have a tiny fold like this, like that one. It's just hard to find. And steeples, you know, for them to look good, you really need to fold pretty precisely. So fold before you paint. I like the yellow, but I really like that gray, and I wish I had figured out, you know, had done the painting, but okay. See, that one I messed up on because I was in a hurry and I didn't use my ruler. So I fold towards me for the first one and then away because the indentation is on this side, so there. There's a little steeple. Okay, let me see what else. I think that's it. Did anybody else have any questions? Okay, I'm going to switch to my overhead camera. I'm going to rotate this away. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, all right. Oh, you can't double up on score lines? I don't know why they make things harder for people. What I do is I make a couple of copies of my whatever I'm setting up on Design Space and then attach them together. So you do end up doubling up on score lines that way. Okay, this one I wanted to show you. I made this years ago, and like I said, never had pattern. This is the batwing bed. I put it in this little dollhouse I made. Just I used like litter box cardboard. And anyway, that's the batwing bed. Of course, it needs a mattress. But also, I made a little, I don't know how to say it, chaise lounge. So it's not like fancy furniture. People do really fun, fancy furniture. I mean, like beautiful, detailed, looks like real. This is like just fun little stuff. And it's sturdy and kids can play with it. And then Tim Holt, you know I'm a big Tim Holtz fan. So he had these figures, and I'm not sure if they're still for sale. I'll look it up. But he calls them Costume Party, I think. And they're so cute. And I added a base to them so they fit in my little, all of these characters. See, I put them on the back of a little tombstone. All of these characters fit in my little house. And so that's what I'm saying. It's not like crazy, perfect, detailed scale. It's fun. Okay, let me get the little house over here. And normally it has the, the coffin clock that we made last year. Anyway, but I'll remind you, and I'll have links to all that stuff. But wait, look. Try to figure out. Oops. What do I call him? I have a name for him. This one I call Ace, like he's an ace bandage. I think he's Frank. I don't remember what I called him. But anyway, I actually have a tutorial on how to make these figures. But also, and I've never made the fireplace. And I think the fireplace looks good. Okay, I keep dumping stuff. Okay, and let's see, any questions? Yeah, this is just fun. And, you know, when you make something so perfect, it's kind of intimidating and people are like afraid to touch it. But when you make something out of cat litter box and, you know, a batwing bed out of just scrap cardboard, it's fun. It's fun. And we'll do some of this stuff during the Spooktacular. The tickets will be available July 24th. I did a waiting list page, so if you want to be sure you're on my mailing list and get the Spooktacular, you can sign up for that. Okay, Amy asked, so how are you showing off all your houses? Oh, well, I bought this. One thing, I bought this kind of display thing from one of the home improvement stores, so that's what I like. The other thing is, I really think hanging it on a wreath is a good way. But another is I make mine small so that they're easy to put places. You know, a lot of them are really huge. They're over 12 inches tall, and I'm like, that's kind of hard to show off. So that's why I like the little ones, and you can just kind of tuck them in somewhere. But I really like this kind of display shelf. So you can get stuff like that at any home improvement store. Okay, all right. I'm looking for any questions that I might have missed. Chaves Lounge needs a chicken. Yeah, these are just fun. You know, it's just designed to be fun. But I was looking at your comments. Okay, all righty. Oh.
What? Asked about foil cardstock.
Foil cardstock?
For the mirror in the house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And yes, it's foil cardstock. And I think I put the pattern for this on my in the dollhouse tutorial. So I did the windows, the door. See, look at the door. See, I made little handles for the door and little bit hinges. This is the Tim Holtz bat, and then I think the pattern for the roof. So all of that's in there, but I didn't include the link. But if I remember, I will put the link in the description that I showed you those things. Yes, these characters are hysterical. So, yeah. Ace Franken. I don't remember what I called him, but I made up names for him. I'll include. I'll try to remember to modify the description and show you how I made these, and I'll also look up and see if they're still available because they're just incredible, really fun. Okay, alrighty. Let's see. Any other questions? No, the fringe was also a Tim Holtz. Yeah. I am going to figure out how to make some fringe. I'm going to make it out of newspaper and then spray it different colors. And yeah, I have ideas for fringe, but I haven't been able to bring it to life. You know how you have all these ideas, but getting them done is hard. Okay. Well, I'm going to go find some food and then nap. Pretty much what I do after everyone. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay. Y'all take care. Bye.